trees down, roads washed out.
It sounded like a shotgun going off, and a much larger tree had broke loose and uprooted.
Thousands of us left in the dark. Even more continue to dry out.
They told us it was a flood zone. We didn't believe them.
Do you believe them now?
We definitely believe them now.
Hey, sir, you all right?
As we see the aftermath of Matthew's mess.
I woke up this morning and I saw the cars underwater.
A lot of trees and tree limbs have fallen on power lines, which has pulled them down.
A special Wavy News 10 Midday starts now.
As the sun came up Sunday, we finally started to see the devastation left behind by Hurricane Matthew. Water everywhere, vehicles stranded, several people dead between Virginia and North Carolina. And in Hampton Roads, the wall next to an historic Portsmouth cemetery came tumbling down during the storm. Officers had to block a portion of the road as bricks littered the street. Along the Outer Banks, several roads washed away. And we'll continue to look at more of these areas throughout our newscast. But right now, a lot of us are using the power of the sun instead of Dominion. Thank you for joining us this midday. I'm Don Roberts.
And I'm Katie Collette. At the height of the storm, power outages impacted nearly 500,000 customers. And you can really see why by looking at the screen behind us here. And that is why we have team coverage from our journalists across Hampton Roads right now. Right now, around 100,000 people still don't have power. That number obviously continues to go down. 10 on your sides, Stephanie Harris will break those numbers down a little more in just a few minutes.
Before we get to more of the damage, let's get right to meteorologist Deirdre Tate. She, along with our entire team of meteorologists, has tracked Matthew as it moved up the coast and into our area. Also, we still have a few flood warnings, Deirdre.
We do. We have the potential for more flooding due to the river flooding, and also we're watching high tide that's coming up a little bit before 5 o'clock. As far as what's happening in terms of the winds, these also stay up right now about 10 to 20 miles per hour out of the north, and the winds have been gusting higher than that. As far as the winds in Elizabeth City, you're at 15 sustained, Manio 20, and even Norfolk at the airport, it's at 17. Now here's a check of the wind gusts so far. Right now, the winds are gusting at 25 at Norfolk over at the airport, wind gusts of 24 for Kill Devil Hills, and right now it's 20 in Hatteras. So this morning we had wind gusts at about 30. They're going down a little bit, seems, in terms of the more recent wind gusts, but still it's going to be a very breezy scenario, windy actually, closer towards the coast for at least the rest of the afternoon into early evening. Tower Cam 10, though, showing the blue sky up above. So again, we are definitely enjoying the sunshine. Temperatures holding close to 60 right now in most spots. It's at 60 at Virginia Beach. Newport News at 59. Same temperature for Norfolk. And right now it's 59 degrees in Chesapeake with 60. For those of you in Suffolk, a little warmer in Williamsburg, you're at 64. So here's a check of your forecast for today. Definitely a nicer day than what we experienced this weekend, including Sunday. Still going to be breezy, though. We're going to keep those winds up about 15, 20 through, let's say, early evening with the gusts possibly up to 30. But again, the conditions will be improving in terms of winds as we head towards later tonight. Stay tuned. I'll give you more details about the times that we're expecting high tide. Also, more on the different rivers that you need to look out for in terms of them reaching its crest. All that's coming up.
Our team Matthew coverage this midday now from Virginia Beach. The storm so bad people lost their homes.
That's right. 10 on your sides, Aaron Kelly picks up our team coverage from Bird Neck Road in Virginia Beach. Aaron?
Yeah, we're at the Colony Mobile Home Park, not far from Virginia Beach Boulevard, and this is the kind of damage I've only seen from a tornado, and there are people here who are fortunate to be alive this morning. And we're here with Mercedes Nogales. She was inside with her 4 family members when this happened, and when you look behind, you can see this is what's left of a tree that hit not only your home, but your neighbor's home. Tell me about what happened here.
We were sleeping like around 12:30. We heard, the loudest crash I've ever heard in my life, and it shook the whole trailer, and apparently a tree had fallen. That's what we thought. And thankfully my mom and my daughter were sleeping on the couch that night, and the tree fell right beside her bed. It went right in between 2 beds, my father's bed and my mother's bed.
And we're going to show that right now, actually. Okay. We're showing you right now the room where that bed was, where your mother would have been sleeping, but not this night. She was sleeping on the couch. And you can see this opening here is right where the tree came in. And you say you're grateful that you have church members helping to clean this up.
Yes, I'm so grateful for our church members. They've been here since later this yesterday morning helping us take out all the tree, cut it, and put it back, where it was, and helped seal this big hole right in between the trailer.
Well, Mercedes has a lot to go through today, and she has the help of the community, but there are a lot of other people that are dealing with a mess around this area. And again, this is what we're seeing here. This is again at Colony Mobile Home Park off of Virginia Beach Boulevard, and we'll send it back to you. Aaron Kelly, 10 on your side.
My goodness, Aaron, almost looks like tornado damage, but that is the damage from trees falling from the outskirts there of Hurricane Matthew. Now, another really hard-hit area, of course, the Outer Banks. A chunk of road near Kitty Hawk is completely cut off this midday, and you're really able to get a good look at the destruction left behind.
Now, work is underway to clean up Matthew's mess. 10 on your side's Andy Fox remains in the Outer Banks, and he has the latest information.
This is the beach road in Kitty Hawk in front of the Black Pelican restaurant. And behind me, 125 yards of collapsed road on the left side here. The support underneath wasn't strong enough to keep Matthew away. Peeking from behind the clouds, the long-lost sun. It returned to show the reality of what Matthew had left behind in Kitty Hawk. Mayor Gary Perry.
The dune that was there washed away back in Hermine, and then the state came along, put more sand here. That's washed away in Matthew. And where the sandbags ended from the last storm, they're going to have to do sandbagging from here up through where the dune is relatively good. Well, we were actually very surprised because then we got up in the morning yesterday and everything was fine. And then come about 5 o'clock in the afternoon, everybody went, "What happened?" And there it was gone. And we just didn't expect it.
Just down from the washed out road, this road that has been repaired after it was washed out during Hurricane Sandy and other storms too. And it's okay today because the man-made dunes are resting on top of thousands of pounds of sandbags that provide stability.
After it was sandbags was put in, that part is held up. That's correct. And it's held up now after, this is the third time that we've had some damage to it and had to come rebuild the sand. But the sandbags have held up, the road is held up. That's the difference between this part, which is held up, and that part which we've lost.
Mayor Perry thinks it'll take 2 to 3 weeks to repair the road, but he says the real improvements that will protect the road out here in the spring, $23 million in beach replenishment. Mayor Perry says that is what will really protect Highway 12. In Kitty Hawk, Andy Fox, 10 on your side.
Hey, sir, you all right? Hanging in there. All right, let's get you out of here, bud. Woo, it's cold water. Can you walk?
I think so.
Is there anybody else in the car?
No.
No? All right, here.
New video in this midday from a dramatic rescue over the weekend on Tidewater Drive in Norfolk. You're able to see life care medics go up to a flooded car after Hurricane Matthew dumped the heavy amounts of rain. The water actually came above the paramedics' waists. Wow. Luckily, that person who needed help was pulled to safety.
Also in that same area, the heavy water caused pumps to fail at a couple of underpasses. That includes the one at Brambleton Avenue and Tidewater Drive and Virginia Beach Boulevard at Tidewater Drive.
Overnight, 10 on your side got video from those flooded areas. Norfolk City leaders say the pumps just couldn't keep up as Matthew forced thousands of gallons of water through. It could be a while before those areas reopen.
And now from Florida through Virginia, at least 19 have been killed from Matthew. And that includes a 63-year-old Hampton man. Early Sunday morning, he went outside to check on storm damage. He was later found shortly after unresponsive in standing water. Officers say his death is likely storm-related, but because of natural causes.
This midday, we've just learned Hurricane Matthew is partly to blame for a second death over the weekend. State police say 38-year-old Anthony Longoria of Carsville crashed his pickup into the back of a tractor trailer. Investigators say the 18-wheeler had stopped on Interstate 64 when the wind blew a tree down, blocking the road. Longoria was not wearing a seatbelt.
From Virginia to North Carolina, the storm is blamed for 8 deaths so far.
At least 2 of those people were killed when the car they were in went under fast-moving water. In a news conference, Governor Pat McCrory says he thinks that number will go up because several people are still missing.
A day and a half ago, we warned that this is going to be like Hurricane Floyd. I was afraid that we were exaggerating. Now I'm having people from eastern North Carolina telling us we may have underestimated this.
The threat of high water continues across the Tar Heel State this midday as water moves downstream into the ocean.
Back on Midday, in video you'll see only on 10 parts of the peninsula got slammed by the storm. This midday things have mostly dried out. Here's video near Big Bethel Road in Hampton. You're able to see a lot of people left their cars on the flooded streets.
In Chesapeake, like a lot of other places, people continue to dry out. 10 on your side got this video of the Culpeper Landing subdivision in Deep Creek. People had to use boats to get through the flooding.
And while some wait for the water to go down, tens of thousands are waiting for their lights to come back on.
That's right. Dominion Virginia Power reports more than 100,000 people are still without power in Hampton Roads and northeastern North Carolina. 10 on your side's Stephanie Harris is following the latest on the restoration work and when folks can expect to get back to normal. And Stephanie, that's all anybody wants.
Absolutely, Katie, Don. So first, I'll give you the good news. Dominion has restored power to 70% of the nearly 500,000 customers who lost electricity during the storm, and crews continue to make their way to Hampton Roads to help out. Additional crews, that is. There are currently 2,300 people working in the field, most of them right here. 500 contractors who were working in Florida are now headed this way, along with others from Richmond and Northern Virginia. The water has receded in most places, which is allowing those crews to get in and do the work that they need to do in many areas. Downed poles and trees continue to be their biggest challenge, and it will still be several days, they say, before everyone has their power back on. They ask for your patience. The first priority, they say, is the critical infrastructure like hospitals, first responders, and pumping stations. Now, 87% of those have been restored. So the next priority is a job that can get the most customers back on the quickest. So be aware that you may lose power while others are brought back onto the grid. If you do lose power or you still don't have it, go ahead and go online or call Dominion to report that. Now, Dominion is working on a plan right now, and by this afternoon, they promise that they will be able to give us an estimated time on when customers can expect their power to be restored. So look for an update when I see you back here for Wavy News 10 at 4. Stephanie Harris, 10 on your side.
Stephanie, thank you. And this just in from the city. Virginia Beach Police Department is asking citizens to avoid Great Neck Road from Virginia Beach Boulevard to Shore Drive. And Dominion Power crews are working to restore power lines. Again, the city is asking citizens in the beach to avoid Great Neck Road from Virginia Beach to Shore Drive as Dominion Power crews are working to restore power lines. And take a look at these pictures from a landfill in Virginia Beach. The storm water went over the banks and into the pit. The exit road at the landfill was completely washed out. A bathroom, pump, and other things at the landfill destroyed. Extra pumps have been added to help get everything cleared out.
Now, Virginia Beach is one of 6 cities in Hampton Roads that declared states of emergency because of the storm.
And according to the governor's office, Suffolk, Hampton, Norfolk, Newport News, and Portsmouth are also on that list. In Virginia Beach, officials are asking residents to conserve water. They say the public supply is safe, but all the rain is overworking the wastewater system.
To help, the city says avoid excessive water use, postpone doing laundry, running the dishwasher, and excessively flushing the toilet.
Our Team Matthew coverage this midday now from Virginia Beach. The storm so bad, people lost their homes.
That's right. 10 on your side's Aaron Kelly picks up our team coverage from Bird Neck Road. And boy, Aaron, you are seeing some serious damage there.
This is unbelievable. I don't think I've ever seen roots from a tree as high as this before. I'm talking to Shirley Butt. You've lived here for 20 years. Tell me what happened here.
It was storming, raining, the wind blowing very bad. All of a sudden, it was hurricane force, and the tree started leaning, and I ran back in the house, and the tree fell. And when it did, it fell into the house next door, and it crushed my car. And it was a very loud popping sound, like an explosion when it hit the car.
And I'm sorry about your car. This fell parallel to your house, though, and when you see that it fell in that direction instead of on your house, what goes through your mind?
I'm very fortunate to be alive.
This is a huge, huge tree, and a lot of people are cleaning up. You have people actually cutting your fence down right now so you can get out. Tell me about that.
Well, I haven't been able to get out since the storm Saturday night. Two gentlemen from the park came and cut the debris because the kitchen deck, this was all closed in. The kitchen deck, they moved all the stuff to get out so that I could get out. This is the first time I've been out since Saturday.
And you were not hurt?
I was not hurt. The house is damaged and a lot of leakage of the roof and the fence.
And you lost your beloved car.
I lost my car. It's 13 years old, but it's material things, so thank God I'm still here.
And again, I mean, just look at the size of this. I'm standing on a deck, and it's still much, much taller than me. I mean, maybe 3 times my height, 2 times my height. We've been talking to Shirley. Shirley, good luck to you. Thanks so much for talking to us. That's the latest here from Virginia Beach. Erin Kelly, 10 on your side.
Now from Florida through Virginia, at least 19 have been killed from Matthew. That includes a 63-year-old Hampton man. Early Sunday morning, he went outside to check on storm damage. He was found shortly after unresponsive in standing water. Now, officers say his death is likely storm-related because of natural causes.
This midday, we've just learned Hurricane Matthew is partly to blame for a second death over the weekend. State police say 38-year-old Anthony Longoria of Carsville crashed his pickup into the back of a tractor trailer. Investigators say the 18-wheeler had stopped on Interstate 64 when the wind blew a tree down, blocking the road. Longoria was not wearing a seatbelt.
And from Virginia to North Carolina, this storm is blamed for 8 deaths so far.
At least 2 of those people were killed when the car they were in went under fast-moving water. In a news conference, Governor Pat McCrory says he thinks that number will go up because several people are still missing.
A day and a half ago, we warned that this is going to be like Hurricane Floyd. I was afraid that we were exaggerating. Now I'm having people from eastern North Carolina telling us we may have underestimated this.
The threat of high water continues across the Tar Heel State this midday as water moves downstream into the ocean.
Hey, sir, you all right?
I'm hanging in there.
All right, let's get you out of here, bud. Whoa, it's cold water. Can you walk?
I think so.
Is there anybody else in the car?
No.
No? All right, here.
New video in this midday from a dramatic rescue over the weekend on Tidewater Drive in Norfolk. Now, you're able to see life care medics go up to a flooded car after Hurricane Matthew dumped the heavy amounts of rain. The water came above the paramedics' waist. Fortunately, that person was pulled to safety.
Hurricane Matthew may be long gone, but the storm is still having an impact on parts of North Carolina. This is Highway 74 in Columbus County. That's just east of the Interstate 95 interchange in eastern North Carolina. Traffic was backed up for miles because a section of I-95 near the city of Lumberton is closed due to flooding. It's not clear how long the interstate will remain closed or when traffic will start moving again.
And if you're taking Amtrak, service will slowly be restored between North Carolina and Virginia. Starting today, the Amtrak train from Norfolk will have a train coming into the station. Full service will resume tomorrow. In North Carolina, there will not be any service between Richmond and Raleigh. Bus connections will also be impacted. And from standing water to water inside of people's homes, it's been a mess.
Oh yes, 10 on your side's Lex Gray went to Chesapeake earlier where the water was still really high.
Yeah, church members here at Deep Creek United Methodist Church in Chesapeake tell me that the Intercoastal Waterway, the canal back here, has been overflowing into their parking lot since yesterday afternoon. And as you can see here, it is not showing any signs of slowing down. The water flow is really strong. Just take a listen to this as I get closer. Fortunately, though, it hasn't been getting any deeper. We first checked it out at 3 o'clock this morning, and it's still only about ankle deep. It's also not spreading too much further into the front parking lot, and that's because the storm drains are working. The one right in front of me here, and then I can also show you some video of what's going on behind me as it drains back into the waterway. You can see how hard the water pressure is just from that foam building up and tossing into the air back there. I talked to a church member here who told me in his 71 years he has never seen this happen, but there's really not a whole lot that they can do. Fortunately, the front parking lot is open, so they were able to open their daycare, and at this point, all they can do is wait. In Chesapeake, I'm Lex Gray, 10 on your side.
Portsmouth offered free parking to citizens as the storm moved into our area, and the impacts will be felt for quite some time from that storm. Dozens in the Swanson home section of Portsmouth faced serious flood damage. Fire officials used inflatable boats to help nearly 50 people get out of their homes into a nearby shelter. Chopper 10 flew over the drenched neighborhood. The water went into several homes and vehicles there.
I woke up this morning and I saw the cars underwater. People had to move their cars. The rescue squad was out here last night, and it was just amazing. Some of the houses out here did get water in their homes, and I appreciate the way the rescue came out and saved mostly the elder and the kids. But with me, my neighbor, ours didn't get damaged.
Officials say no one in the neighborhood was hurt because of the storm.
In Suffolk, 2 trees blew down in high winds on 3rd Street. One hit the roof of this house. Look at the size of that tree. Now, the resident says it knocked a hole in the bedroom and bathroom. It also took out the back porch. The owner tells us he's trying to get help from the American Red Cross. Hurricane Matthew caused a lot of problems for people as it pushed up the coast. This is video from Savannah, Georgia. Now, these chopper shots, you can see the destruction left behind. And that includes roofs ripped off of houses. Georgia evacuated the coast for the first time in 17 years.
A total of 19 people died in the storm. At least 8 died in North Carolina, and 5 people are still missing there. Additionally, about 1,000 people had to be rescued.
And don't forget, if you put your car into one of the Norfolk parking garages, you had until noon today to remove it. Now, the city opened the York and Freemason garages over the weekend to help residents who needed a safe place to put their cars. Also, always a reminder, if you do see standing water, don't do this. We saw a lot of drivers flying through the flooding, and in Hampton, you could get ticketed for this. And the wake from your car swamps people's homes and only makes the damage worse.
About 100 people seeking shelter from Hurricane Matthew along the North Carolina coast had to evacuate a second time. The manager of the Comfort Suites in Southport called for help when she spotted cracks in a main wall supporting the roof. The cracks got worse as the wind gusts got stronger, and fire officials feared the wall would come tumbling down. That's when they made the decision to move everyone out. Hurricane Matthew unveiled a very unusual find in South Carolina. Explosive ordnance disposal teams say Civil War cannonballs washed up on shore in Folly Beach, South Carolina. You can see them right here on the beach in this video. And don't forget, for complete storm coverage, you can head on over to WAVY.com.